The NFL's marketing has to do with what? The shield. What does it look like? An American flag. The NBA, their logo is Jerry West, a former player. And just how those leagues have continued to feed those narratives now has led to the popularity of the game that's been astronomical. So it would be asinine for these two sides not to agree and to fall out over something like the one and done rule. But at some point, the players, and I think it has to be sooner than later, have to own this and have to acknowledge that some of the greatest players in the history of the NBA didn't attend college.
No. What the players have proposed, it's been reported, a 0 or 2 rule, which I personally love. This makes a lot of sense to me. You either come straight out of high school or you spend 2 years in college basketball, a minimum of 2 years in college basketball. And here, let me tell you why I like this. This isn't the 90s when you didn't know that much about high school players, globalization, the internet, scouting. It's all gotten better, and I feel like better decisions will be made, not just by the teams, but also by the potential athletes as they graduate high school and make the decision whether or not to go into the draft or the college.
So if you believe that people are going to make more informed decisions, then why have to go for 2 years? Why I can't have the opportunity to leave whenever I choose? I don't think NBA players should be hamstrung. They're not in Major League Baseball.
Yes, they are. They have a 0 or 3 rule in Major League Baseball.
You said the key 0.
No, sure, but
Okay,
it's not the same. But what the NBAPA is proposing is similar to what Major League Baseball has in place.
I disagree with being proposed. I think we start with 0 because that's what we have.
0 or 0 rule?
Yes, because that's what you have in baseball.
I'm an adult. I can do whatever I want.
That's what we have.
Okay, you're misunderstanding.
No, I'm not.
The proposal that the NBAPA put out is 0 or 2. What is in place in Major League Baseball is 0 or 3. You want 0 or nothing. Just I can do whatever I want.
Absolutely. That's how the world works. Isn't that how it works in tennis or NASCAR or golf? The leisure sports, shall I say? I just don't see why that restraint should have to say, well, if I'm not ready after high school, then I must go to college for 2 years. There are people in this country that have college degrees, and raise your hand, even quietly if you want to, that don't have a job. There's no guarantee just because I go stand on campus for 2 years, I'm going to be further off in my professional career. Being able to play at that level, that's like hitting the lotto. That's having lightning struck in a bottle. Like, if you can do that, you got to do that ASAP right now. And it disappoints me that we only have these conversations for NBA players and NFL players. Now, I'm not as stringent because I know the physicality that comes with being an NFL player is way different than an NBA player.
I think you said it, and you said leisure sports. I think that the toll on the body and the maturity and the science will say that being a professional football player is very different than being a professional golfer.
But in basketball, we can sit here and name some notable all-time great players that never attended college.
And of course, we could do the same on the opposite side too. Some busts and lives that were sort of potentially ruined.
We can also name some 4-year players that never made it. So that's my point. There's no rite of passage just because you go to college. That does not exist. So I just disagree with the 0 and 2 when I think it should be like it is in all other sports.
Just freedom?
Free.
Just adults being free in the world
should be able
to do what they want?
I should be able to do what I want. And by the way, here's something else that people don't pay attention to.
What's that, Ms. Rose?
That doesn't apply for international players in a sport that's been as globalized as any. So just think about what I just said. It's almost segregated against American-born players. If my parents see me with the opportunity to be able to be a player that can come out after high school, they're better off moving out of the country my final 2 years allowing me to enter the draft.
They want the international players in the club. Like a domestic player comes to the velvet rope, you're like, oh, what kind of shoes are those? How many you got or whatever? But then, an international player comes, the velvet rope opens, how old are you? Whatever. What do we need to get paid?
See your
what's the contract? Like, we have to pay some other country to get rid of you? Or how's this work? Like, whatever. Come on in.
Correct.
Come on in.
Correct.
I think that's how it's set up. One thing I do like, which is a place that we are headed with this league, is less stress of the regular season on the players. So what they have done is they have shortened the preseason, and they're going to start the season earlier, thus spreading games out in an attempt to eliminate as much as they can back-to-backs, in an attempt to, 4 games at 5 nights. Teams will only have one of those. Do you think that's a step in the right direction? Where do you think it'll eventually go?
Can you put toothpaste back in a bottle?
No, you can't, sir.
Okay. So when you think as a league, our goal is to make it easier for the players by lengthening the season, eliminating back-to-backs. You now make the fans think, whee! Players won't miss games anymore because they're healthy.
They're still going to miss games.
That's not going to be the case. They could stretch the season out another month. Okay, players are now realizing that I could prolong my career. I could take a Wednesday night
years,
off.
I'll play 17 years.
No doubt. And here's the thing. This is why I don't like it. Players don't sit out in marquee games. That's why they're doing it in the
televised?
That's why they're doing it in the regular season, not the playoffs. So let me give you an example. When players go to LA, New York,
playing
against Golden State,
national TNT,
they're playing in those games.
Oh, Jalen Rose is gonna be at halftime.
No
I gotta be in that one.
So now it's a Wednesday in Memphis. No, we good. Oh, it's a Saturday in Dallas. No, I'm good.
One very quick question: what is Draymond so mad about?
I'm not sure.
I
gotta hit him and find out.
We gotta hit him up. Let's hit him up.
But here's again, we can say it's okay for LeBron, but when it becomes okay for him, Kyrie, like, I'm 24, my legs heavy. How many games did he play in college? 10? So he played 10 games in college, and he's 24 years old, and his legs are heavy. And so Boogie, like, you know what? I've been taking 30 shots the last 2 weeks. I'm tired too.
Jalen, there's a trend this week. Something that we've discussed off wax that I want to put on wax. Just this week, it was announced that Lamar Odom was going to go back to rehab. His troubles have been well chronicled. Steve Francis had some troubles with the law. And early Wednesday morning, Jamal Anderson was in a gas station, reportedly intoxicated, put a bunch of money on the counter, and then exposed himself and pleasured himself to the teller, and the teller called the police. This is not unique to athletes. Substance abuse issues, law enforcement issues, these things happen. But this seems to be happening a lot this week. And my question to you is this. What needs to change to better help retired athletes transition into civilian life?
Sports represent a microcosm of society. And just because you're talented at one thing and you make it to the elite level, that doesn't mean that all of the decisions that you make are sound ones. Money doesn't absolve you from that. Your race doesn't absolve you from that. It's just something that when you finish with the rush of playing professional sports, it almost is like that fish that now is out of water. You have to be great. You have to be happy. You have to be able to function at something else, because the one thing sports provides athletes that people overlook is support. You get a lot of coaching your entire life.
Interesting.
Also, structure. Places you have to be, times that you need to be there. Sacrifice. Practicing when your friends don't want to. Discipline. To be able to be a student plus an athlete. Work ethic, because you got to work harder than all the other people that want to play football, basketball, or whatever sport. How many people are getting down on their knees saying they want to play pro at something? So how do you separate yourself from that?
I think you make a really good point about the structure and the support. I think that's one thing that people overlook. I think people say, "Oh, these athletes, they have millions of dollars, and then they just spend it all up and ruin their lives, and they don't even get other jobs because they've got too much money and fame on their hands."
So here's something notable about continuing to reinvent yourself, and I'll just use myself for example. There will always be people that talk about what I'm not or what I'm not doing. So I'll just acknowledge, I guess, some of what my critics may say about me. And then in my head, I'm like, well, I got a chance to play in the NBA. It's pretty good. I'm no Magic Johnson. I'm no Kobe Bryant, but I did get a chance to buy my mother a house. Like, I'm good.
We all know what it is, though.
Okay.
Never a champion in college, never a champion in the league, never an
Correct.
all-star.
Correct. Correct. And so, and then you say, so, wow, I did get a chance to perform at that level, and I'm fortunate enough to actually have a second career. Like, this isn't a job. Like, how old is Hubie Brown?
I think it's like 155.
Okay, like this is a career. I played basketball for 13 years. I've been working at ESPN for almost 10. Okay. So what ends up happening is while you're a player, you become the leader of your conglomerate, the leader of your corporation, the leader of your entity, your business. So not only do you have to be one of the most proficient professional athletes that have ever lived to maintain your status in that sport, because 80 of the players that are on rosters on NBA teams right now will not be in the league next year. You have to be great at a lot of other stuff. Managing people. How you deal with strangers that approach you. Are you nice? Are you signing autographs? Are you taking pictures? How you deal with your family, your friends, and your loved ones? How do you deal with success? Your name is in the paper. People know who you are. They know how much money you make. You're not anonymous anymore. They know where you're from. They know your mother's name. They know everything about you. Like, these are all learned behaviors. How do you manage your money? There are people who have worked in this country that worked on Wall Street, and guess what they did? They sent our country into bankruptcy, and these are professionals. Yep. So it almost is head-scratching sometimes for me when I see people who don't do that for a living actually get a lot of ribbing. 70% of the people who hit the lottery end up broke again.
So here's my question. And part of me, it feels like we should stop using the word retire. See, the thing about the word retire, as a civilian, a non-professional athlete, which is 99.9% of the people, when we retire, it's because we've entered a phase of our life which we, whether you want to believe it or not, no longer can professionally contribute to society.
And you probably getting Social Security at that point.
Exactly. When you are a 30, 35-year-old professional athlete, when you retire, there's that implication that you no longer have something to professionally contribute to society. And you've still got half a century of your life in front of you, yet you've used the word retire for your profession.
That's why I haven't filled out my paperwork. If there is a way to help, if there is a different looking glass of preparation that parents that can hear me now, future agents, current representatives, teams, here's what you can do for athletes. Protect them from themselves, because the dynamic happens. You get all of your money and all of your fame when you're the youngest in your life. But in your 20s, that's when you're making the worst decisions.
Absolutely. Everyone listening to this made terrible decisions in their early 20s.
Okay, just think about that. So imagine if you were to get, say, 20% of your earning power while you're before 25. And then another 20% when you're below 30. And then you get a large chunk in your early 30s, regardless of how long you play now. So this is for the guy that plays 4 years or the guy that plays 14 years. Because now you're making better decisions when you're 30. You're a lot more settled. You're a lot more disciplined. And you made all of the choices that you made in your 20s. And so that's what I would implore. And it's just unfortunate to see what these guys are going through. And I'm wishing them all the best. I got love for each of these guys.
The Thunder lost to the Jazz. Russell Westbrook did not get a triple-double. And he was asked about it in the post-game press conference. Let's give it a listen.
Honestly, man, you know, people in this triple-double thing is kind of getting on my nerves.
Starting to get in his nerves. Can I just speak on this one first, Jalen?
Sure.
Let me tell you something. He didn't play well. He took 25 shots. He missed 18 of those shots. Not only did he not get a triple-double, the team lost. Okay? You could ask him in that moment, do you like the sound of children's laughing? Do you like unicorns and rainbows and sunny days on the beach? And you know what he would say? No, I don't like anything. So the idea that this gets on his nerves, and, you know, we're a part of it too. Everybody talks about it all day long. You know, everyone takes shots. Russell Westbrook, does he need to change his attitude?
I started
is he
in
annoying?
preseason.
Or is this, and that? And it's just like, here's the thing, man. Like, he just lost. He's upset. I'll lose a pickup game of 2-on-2 and be upset for 15 minutes afterwards. Like, for me, he gets a complete pass on this one. You miss 18 of 25 shots, you're not gonna respond well to any question that is asked.
Well said. And the key is that he plays on a basketball team that actually flourishes. Their record is exponentially better when he does have a triple-double.
Oh, yeah. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's something like when he doesn't have a triple-double, there's, 4 and 8, and when he does, they're 15 and 4,
And that means something. Because what that personally tells me is their lead guard, their primary ball handler, has to do two things that if your team is going to continue to be a successful playoff team that can possibly advance, that he shouldn't have to do. One is lead the team in rebounds.
Come on, Steven Adams.
I'm paying Steven Adams and Enes Kanter $180 million.
Kanter gets a pass. That's not what he does. You know what I mean? But he's tall. He should be getting more rebounds. But Steven Adams, I'm looking right at Steven Adams like, come on, Steven Adams.
I'm just going to give you some math. Enes Kanter is one of the best rebounders per minute in the game and has been since he's been in the league. He falls in the 10 rebounds. He doesn't have to play 25 minutes to rebound like that. And for Adams, so what ends up occurring is instead of Russell Westbrook getting outlet passes on the fly, playing 4-on-3, 3-on-2, 2-on-1, he's getting the rebound dribbling 90 feet through traffic, like bumper cars almost, like he's on an Autobahn. And so eventually when the defense retreats and they wall off the paint,
they're like, am I going to take this charge?
He's
for real?
A low percentage 3 shooter. We got guys that's going to contest. Mm-hmm. The only consistent shooter he has from 3 is Anthony Morrow. Robertson is hit or miss. He can't make free throws either. So with that now leads to the second thing that's not good for an NBA team. Is he the only guy that can actually take more than 2 or 3 dribbles? And actually do something with the ball?
I actually think so on this team.
Like guys take 1 or 2 dribbles. They picking it up like it's a drill. And they're in 4th grade. And so with that level of responsibility is going to come individual accolades, but also for the defense, if they're able to stymie you, there's going to be bad, inefficient nights like we saw against Utah.
I know you saw Larry Nance dunk on Rose.
I did. It reminded me of his dad a lot on that play.
It looked good. I honestly thought it was Photoshop. His arm looked so long. Here's my question. How are you supposed to react if you are on the Brooklyn Nets bench and something like that happens in front of you?
I'll give you 2 great throwback visuals just so you guys can feel like, you know what? I enjoyed their program and I forgot about that video.
Okay, I'm going to close my eyes and imagine it. Please paint the picture, Jay.
One is when Dominique Wilkins and Larry Bird were going at it, except Bird was clearly getting the best in Atlanta.
This is the classic opposing. This is the shining example. The shining example of opposing bench reaction.
And this opposing bench, led by my former teammate Cliff Good News Livingston, while their teammate Dominique, future Hall of Famer, was getting scored on and torched by Larry Bird, you know what they were doing? They were literally standing up in circles laughing. Okay? I'm going to give you another example.
Please do, Mr. Rose. Can I keep my eyes open?
Yes, you can keep your eyes open.
Thank you.
There's video of a guy named... I'll tell you my favorite one that I was involved in. Okay? Because I don't remember the second video I wanted to tell you guys about. I wish I did. It was a great one.
You don't. Don't even try. Don't even try.
Okay. The favorite one that I was a part of that you get a chance to appreciate how the Nets bench gets an A+ with their reaction is Vince Carter, 1998-99, Market Square Arena, catches the basketball on the left wing. And he drives past either Chris Mullin or Mark Jackson. And he's the first player I've seen in an NBA game do a double pump dunk backwards in the half court.
And were you on the bench?
Luckily, I was on the other end of the court on the bench.
Oh, okay. So you're not in the shot.
And it's usually when it's your team, everybody, you know how they joke, like you hold your teammates back?
Yep.
It was one of those type moments. But now we did talk about it at halftime because I had to acknowledge that's something I had never seen before.
So I guess, like, moving forward, what are the rules for bench reactions when your own teammate gets clowned?
Act like the Nets. They did perfect. They did perfect. A+. That was an outstanding dunk. They're fans of the game. And guess who likes basketball more than basketball players? Nobody.
Fans.
Nobody. Because when you get a chance to watch the game, you get a chance to cut it off. You're living it, you never get to cut it off.
Kevin Durant has finally admitted that he is 7 feet tall. He said, quote, "Since I love you guys so much," talking about the media, "I was recorded 6'10" and 3/4 with no shoes, so with my shoes on, I am 7 feet tall." He's been listed at 6'9" before. Very simply, why do NBA players always lie about their height?
It works both ways. You can, like
yourself, make yourself taller.
No, like John Wooden would do. And he would lower the height of players. So now when they showed up, they looked like towers to the opponent. Then you have that element of, yes, I'm 6'5", and I'm in 9th grade, but man, I play like I'm 6'8". So the coach like, you know what, he's 6'7" and a half. He's going to grow into it.
You know what? I'm going to answer my own question. Do you know why NBA players lie about their height?
Because it's your value.
No, because no one ever checks up on it.
No.
It's like my GPA in college. On my
You're wrong.
resume, my GPA in college is like 3.9.
Wrong. You are wrong. It's your value. It's something to be said when a guy's a forward and he's 6'9" versus when he's 6'6". That's your money.
How tall are you?
6'7" and a half.
Jalen Rose, it's bubbling up again, this McGregor-Mayweather back and forth on social media. Caption this, I'll give you $10,000. I'm going to smack this guy, blah, 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 blah. Are you getting tired of the McGregor-Mayweather talk? I am.
I'm not tired of it. I just wish it was more realistic.
It's just unrealistic. Let's say, you know what? You can put two people in a ring for the right amount of money. Like money, cash rules everything around me. And if there's money to be made to make some sort of spectacle event, but the actual athleticism, like the actual athletic contest that would happen in that ring would be ridiculous.
Well, a couple of things. On this fine program, when I acknowledged a window of that fight having a legitimate opportunity to take place, that time came and went. At that point, Floyd had another fight and retired. He's not getting back in the ring unless it's just so beneficial to where it's a no-brainer. And he would love for that to be against somebody that's not even a boxer by trade.
I know.
Okay? So if you're trying to wonder which person wants to fight the other, in sweet science rules, there's no question Floyd would get a signature knockout.
And that's why I'm tired of this. It's just two loudmouths kind of barking at each other on social media and people like us just talking about it every day.
But we are taking the baton in the wrong direction because he got his license in California. He didn't get his license in Vegas.
Well, you know why he didn't get his license in Nevada, right?
Because he hasn't paid them
you
the
gotta pay your
fine money.
bills. You got to pay your bills,
I know
man.
why.
Like, we sent you the invoice 3 times. Come on, Connor. I know you're good for it.
But that's the point. You not that's almost like Jay said, that's like spitting up the guy that falls in your face. So you mean to tell me that you're going to bark up the tree of Money Mayweather when you still got outstanding debts in Vegas? That's his home, by the way. And you know what else? His backyard for prize fights.
There's a piece of video that's making its rounds on the internet from the Rockets game. You know when you're coming out of break, you just take generic shots of the arena. And sometimes it's in the hallway where fans walk in the arena, the various different things inside of the arena. Well, in Houston, there were 2 fans who were part of that shot when they come back from commercial. They looked at the cameras, a male and a female. They quickly realized that they were being broadcast all over the globe. And what did they do, Mr. Rose?
Run!
Acted like they didn't know each other real quick. There are a few scenarios that could lead to this. Oh, I'm sorry. There's only one scenario that could lead to this. One of the 2 of them has a girlfriend or a boyfriend, and they were out creeping at the Rockets game. They got caught out.
Or a fiance, or a wife, or a husband.
Who knows?
This is one of those things. Nowadays, if you cheat, you're going to get caught.
Yes. Yeah.
And here's what I mean. You may think that the person that you're texting and emailing and calling is on the up and up, but that's just until they get mad at you.
Oh, and let's just forecast 5 years down the road when everyone's got a phone, everyone's got the Find My iPhone location, that I can just dial up my significant other any given time and find out exactly where that phone is. Yeah.
But here's a couple of things you watch for in those scenarios. if you're in a committed relationship, everybody get closer to the speaker or turn it up a little bit louder. The phone shouldn't be an issue.
Nope.
If y'all laying in the bed and your phone in the shoe in the other room,
airplane
and
mode.
her phone is in airplane mode,
This ain't working.
and when one of y'all text, y'all
got
got to get up and go to the bathroom.
Or it's like, oh, let me use your phone for a second. I got to look something up. Oh, no. What do you need to look up? I can do that.
You can't Google on the other person's phone.
Hey, what's the code of your phone? I'm sorry, I need to look at something.
Correct.
Oh, I'm not telling you the code. Hand it to me.
These are barriers you have to get over if you're in a committed relationship. So for these two people that are in public at a basketball game, you just think, oh, because we're not famous, we're not celebrities, we can't get caught up.
They got caught up.
But you forget that there are cameras everywhere you walk, especially in an arena.
A couple that is engaged to be married, Ryan Lochte and his fiancée, Kayla Ray Reid, have announced that they're expecting a baby. Congratulations to them. And it brought to mind this one simple question. Do you feel bad for Ryan Lochte? I do, and let me explain why before you answer. Ryan Lochte told a heinous lie, right, that perpetuated stereotypes about American people and our place in the world and how we feel about the rest of the world, made us all look bad, and it was an embarrassment for this country. It was bad. Yeah. But, let me just go this way with it. Before he lied to the media on wax and Billy Bush at the beach and all that other things, all he really did was lie to his mom. That was the initial butterfly flap that started this international controversy, was him just on the phone with his mom telling a little white lie. Then his mom went and told someone in the media, and then everybody started looking into it. Don't you feel a little bad for this guy? A little bad for him?
I don't feel bad for him for one reason.
What's up?
After he hit his turbulence, he immediately got on Dancing with the Stars.
Oh, yeah, he cashed in.
So it was not like he had a period of time where he had to figure out how he was going to reinvent himself. It was already laid out for him. So for that, I guess, feel sorry for him.
No.
But his case made me think of something I want everybody to try. If you've had your birthday already this year.
No idea where you're going.
Subtract your current age from 66.
From 66. That's hard math, man.
Okay?
Okay, I'm there.
Add 50.
Okay, I'm there.
It should equal the year you were born.
Boom! Great work.
So the reason why that comes,
anything.
This is what it has to do. It wasn't that he necessarily told a lie when he was in Brazil and he got caught up at the gas station. It was that he was 30 plus hanging with some youngsters that were first timers that were 21, which meant he should have been leading and knowing better, not creating a situation where he was being a bad influence.
Very quick question. A fisherman in Hilton Head hooked 2 great white sharks in one day. Why would anyone ever go into the ocean again?
Well, when you said the word shark, you lost me.
Troy Aikman played for the Dallas Cowboys. He's a quarterback. He said that he is dumbfounded by Jerry Jones' comments and said that if it was up to Jerry, Tony Romo would start the game. Let me just go down a road for a second with me, because I agree with Troy Aikman. And I don't even know Jerry Jones. But here's one thing I know. Jerry Jones is very loyal. He's very loyal. And him and Tony Romo have a special owner-quarterback relationship. That relationship has gone for a decade. When did Jerry Jones first shake Dak Prescott's hands? When did that first happen?
Well, before they drafted him.
Like last spring, maybe? Maybe last spring, we'll say? Jerry Jones is emotionally invested in Tony Romo. And we can act like this doesn't matter, that all that matters is how it plays out in the field. But there are people that say, hey, if Tony Romo was in for Dak Prescott, this offense would actually be better. Look at all that time that he has. With Tony Romo's mind and experience and arm in that pocket with that much time, he could produce more. He could produce better results. So when you have those voices chirping in Jerry Jones's ear, and you look at the history and the emotional history he has with these two players, I think he wants Tony Romo in the game too.
I'll stop being a Jerry Jones fan, and I've talked about this for 5 years, with how his relationship became the sour with Jimmy Johnson, who walked into his office and told him they were going to trade Herschel Walker. And that ultimately was the lead domino that led the Dallas Cowboys to building a roster that won 3 Super Bowls, 2 of those that he actually coached. And still to this day isn't in the Dallas Cowboy Ring of Honor. You talk about me not being in the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. Okay?
You're going to be in there.
He should be in the Cowboys Ring of Honor. How about this? He's in the Hall of Fame. Okay.
You bring this up every time I say Cowboys.
I do.
But now that you've got that out the way.
Because it now goes to Jerry Jones. This is about Jerry Jones in a way that you didn't touch that I'm going to touch.
Please do.
So you talked about the emotional aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not. It's exactly while him and Jimmy aren't talking right now. He wants to prove to us that he was right about Tony Romo. And when he signed him multiple times to elite quarterback status type of contracts, it was always by the premise this guy and Jason Witten are going to be pillars to an offense that win me a Super Bowl in Dallas.
He mentioned it like a month ago. He was talking about how Tony Romo was going to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. That's one. The other thing he's trying to do is actually smart. Trying to get the most out of him I can this year, create some trade value, and he's done.
I just don't see it happening.
Created a family situation with him. I paid him top dollar to play football. We both clearly see, regardless of what happens this year, Dak is going to be the starting quarterback of the future.
Oh, I don't necessarily. The future down the road, sure, maybe. But next year, week 1, next season, I could see Tony Romo starting.
Let me just tell you this. Let me just tell you how this league works. They're going to be somebody to pay a king's ransom to get Jimmy Garoppolo from the Patriots.
Very handsome.
And I hate when you do that.
I know. That's why I do it.
And he's only played 2 games. Dak Prescott has shown that he's a much better player to me.
Also handsome.
Okay? And so what Jerry Jones is truly trying to do is give Tony Romo his last glory year in the Lone Star State. Hope that they can maximize on this year, get value for Romo in return. Then it's a win-win.
I could see that. But you started by saying Jerry Jones wants to be right. And that's one of the things that really, I was like, ooh, Jalen, he's figured this out. Because I know from the sort of corporate environment is the people that you hire, you want to succeed. And you are invested in a way that the people that you hire, you're not. You know, we've seen this all the time in sports and in business.
The
when
GM
someone new
that brings
comes
you
in,
in,
exactly.
He's more likely to see if the team is going to be able to nurture things.
Yep.
When
Steve Ballmer takes over for the Clippers, a lot of people that work for the Clippers, we got to flip this over. Like this is what happens. And I feel like Jerry Jones wants to be right about Tony Romo, and he wants Tony Romo to win a Super Bowl for the Cowboys. Jerry Jones would be so happy if they started Tony Romo and Tony Romo ended up winning a Super Bowl for them this season.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen.
No.
Sure. And you know what else isn't going to happen? Let me tell you what else isn't going to happen.
What else isn't going to happen?
Dak Prescott won't be bad enough in enough games where Tony Romo gets an opportunity to play this year.
Josh Norman said, quote, "When that situation came up, it was totally out of left field. It just went downhill from there. It almost felt like I was stabbed in the back in a way." And of course he is talking about not being retained by the Panthers. My question is, can you be stabbed in the back in business?
I do think in this case, when you talk about something that's unprecedented taking place in the negotiations of Josh Norman, he was offered a deal, and when he didn't agree to the deal really fast, they pulled the deal. It wasn't like they lowered the deal, they renegotiated the deal, they modified the deal.
Yeah.
That's what takes place in a negotiation.
They kind of just wanted to say, yeah, we made an offer, just to make themselves feel better about it.
But hindsight can always be 20/20. He still got his bread.
Mm-hmm.
He's playing on a better football team, and the team he left isn't as good. And their defense, which was their signature. I know Cam was in the MVP last year, but we overlooked the greatness of their defense.
Yep.
It's clearly not as good as it was when he was on the team. I know Luke Kuechly's injured. I know he's out with a concussion. I know that. Still wasn't as good.
No.
Steve Smith had an outburst at practice. couple of balls were overthrown to him, and he's an emotional player. You know, it's sort of like, he's got sort of like a Draymondish reputation. He had an outburst. He sort of left the practice field. And when he was asked about it, one of the things he said was, I learned from Thumper's mom and Bambi that if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. My question is did you know that was Thumper's mom that we got that saying from?
I did not.
I didn't either. Shout out to Thumper's mom.
But one of the things I've always admired about Steve Smith is the emotionally charged player I see on the field. He doesn't carry it off wax. That's the balance that I would like to see more with athletes. It reminds me of the play with Aqib Talib when he was coming to the defense of Chris Harris. Mm-hmm. That was something that happened on the football field, but he talked about handling it off wax. The things that Steve Smith does, it literally stays in competition. But in his case, Aqib, that is, the guy did flagrantly try to go after the guy's knee and try to hurt him.
Right. We all know that.
Yeah, he tried to. Yeah, he can't do that.
So, Jalen.
Yo.
I've got some bad news for you. Bad
news?
You're never going to be inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame.
Why not?
You're just not that good. You're not.
Man,
you're great.
Nice.
You're great, but you're not going to go to the NBA Hall of Fame.
Really?
But
I'm not retired yet.
Maybe you're not getting back in the league either. Maybe as a coach you can make it. Maybe as a broadcaster you can make it, but you will not make it as a player. But that doesn't mean you can't be in the Hall of Fame. I've been looking into certain Hall of Fames that we can get you into because I want you to be a Hall of Famer. I want to call you a Hall of Famer.
Thank you. I'm in the Detroit Sports Hall of Fame.
That's pretty good. I'm thinking bigger. The Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. Now, I did some research.
You read the entire internet.
They brought Derek Jeter this year. He deserves it. Mike Modano, he deserves it. Some of the other people, I'm not going to read their names. That's just kind of messed up. But, like, there's an opportunity for you here. Let's just say that. So, I wrote a letter to the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame to turn you into a Hall of Famer. This is just the first draft of the letter. I wanted to read it to you on the air.
Uh-oh.
And I want you just to take your pen out and make notes as I'm reading it, and then just tell me what you think we could change or how we could make this better.
You actually did this.
Here's the letter.
This is hilarious.
Dear esteemed members of the board of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Hello, my name is David Jacoby. I'm a sports fan, a member of the sports media, and a supporter of justice. Thank you for your time. I write because while reviewing your website, I noticed an injustice. There must have been a mistake. There must have been an oversight. There must have been a simple clerical error. I understand. It happens. No one is perfect. Of course, I am referring to the fact that your organization has yet to celebrate the athletic and philanthropic achievement of my friend and colleague, Jalen Rose. Oh, I'm not done. The fact is, your organization and Jalen Rose have a lot in common. Let's have a look at your mission statement. This is the mission statement of the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. The Michigan Sports Hall of Fame is committed to impacting our communities and inspiring people by celebrating and honoring the traditions, legacies, and history of sports throughout the state of Michigan. Jalen is also committed to impacting his Detroit community. In 2011, Jalen Rose opened the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy, an open enrollment public charter high school on the northwest side of Detroit that currently serves more than 400 9th through 12th graders from the Metro Detroit area. I can attest that Jalen is not just a figurehead, a mascot, or a source of money for JRLA. Jalen spends hours every day working with the faculty and staff, making sure that these students get the best education opportunities possible. There are few more committed to impacting the community of Detroit than Jalen, and that is not the only way that he perfectly aligns with the mission statement of your establishment. In addition to impacting communities, your organization is committed to, quote, inspiring people by celebrating and honoring the traditions and legacies of history of sports through the state of Michigan.
You really took time to do this.
Jalen is also, almost to a fault, committed to celebrating and honoring the traditions of Michigan sports. If I have to hear about the bad boy Pistons not shaking the hands of the Bulls one more time, if I have to hear Jalen whine about the misfortunes of the Lions one more time, if I have to hear Jalen blindly support the Michigan Wolverines regardless of the circumstances one more time, I may lose my mind. Jalen has a national platform, but focuses much of his energy on the promotion and celebration of Michigan sports. It is almost as if his personal mission statement is the same as the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. Notice I didn't mention his on-court accomplishments. I don't have to. Impressive statistics, gaudy awards, Michigan State championships. He has all those. But what's more important than all that is legacy. Today, when people envision Michigan sports, they see four things. Isaiah Thomas celebrating an NBA championship, 100,000 fans strong cheering on the Wolverines, the Fab Five taking the court in their signature style, and the Lions losing in heartbreaking fashion. It's time we celebrate Jalen's legacy. It's also time to update your website, but that's another topic for another time. I look forward to joining you all at the 2017 induction ceremony to be there when Jalen Rose is inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame. I'm great at a party. David Jacoby. P.S.
More?
Jalen wanted me to ask, quote, how many of your members have a Michigan driver's license? Did you know that Jalen has a chauffeur's license? Like, for real? He is a licensed chauffeur? Perhaps one day he will be in the Chauffeur Hall of Fame as well. One at a time, though. P.P.S. I am not kidding. I am great at a party. I might show up even if Jalen isn't there just because I love a good time. And Michigan sports. Is there an open bar?
Thank you, brother.
No problem.
I love you, brother. Thank you.
I love you, too. Now,
Thank you.
Now that you've heard that, do you have any notes? Anything you want me to punch up?
No,
Anything you want me to
actually
mention?
took time and energy to do it, which I'm humbled by. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay.
It was funny.
Should I keep in the part about the website?
Yes.
They got an old website. Like, this is like old internet. This is like HTML.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When you go onto the website, the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame logo spins around and shoots at you, and then lands in its spot.
Very nice letter. I appreciate you taking the time and energy to do so.
Of course, I promised I would.
Who did you send it to?
I haven't sent it to anybody. I wanted you to co-sign it first, and I wanted the people in our production staff to hear it.
Got it.
Because this is a team here. I don't just do things by myself and send them out without everyone putting in their 2 cents. You know?
I do.
This is collaborative. You know. So you think should I leave in the part about the open bar and a party?
Yeah, leave that in there.
Why not? I am great at a party.
And that's the goal, to get me inducted, and then we're going to celebrate.
Yes. You know I love to celebrate.
You say people in life don't celebrate enough.
I'll put on hard bottom shoes.
Whoa.
If you are inducted into the Michigan Sports Hall of Fame, I will put on hard bottom shoes.
Wow.
And here's what's really happening, Jalen. And hold on a second.
Detroit artist.
They haven't put you in yet because of the Michigan stuff.
What Michigan
The
stuff?
whole, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh.
And it's like so much time has passed. And if you really dig into it, did Jalen Rose really do anything wrong on wax?
Here's one of the misconceptions that happen when people talk about the allegations and surrounding Ed Martin and his relationship with Chris Webber. The difference in our situations is that you're allowed to know somebody that actually wants to influence you in a positive way.
No.
Wait,
you had a relationship with someone
That
that was
actually cared-
older than you that cared about your well-being and your health?
Yes.
Oh, you can't be in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Oh, you can't be in the Hall
right.
of Fame.
Took me to Michigan when they played Notre Dame and Rocket Ismail ran back 2 punts. Took us to ACT class. Got us out the hood. Okay. Went to the house, washed cars and all of that. Told me how to give back to my community, which is a large reason why I learned how to do such and tip people, which you know. The difference, however, in me and C. Webb is when they asked us about our relationship, I told the truth. Yes, I know Ed. Yes, he's giving me cash. Yes, as a matter of fact, gave me a winter coat before, too. When Chris got interviewed by the grand jury, he's like, I don't know. Oh, they like, and they put out like 150 pictures like, oh, you know him.
Then what did Chris say? But right now, we're going to open up our voicemail box. You can call 98580-JALEN and leave us messages. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
Hey, this is Bob from the Washington, D.C. area. I'm a 70-year-old native Detroiter who actually listened to the radio coverage of the Lions' 1957 NFL championship victory. It's been a long time. My question, are the 2004 Detroit Pistons NBA champions the most underappreciated NBA champs in the last 25 years? And hey, how about a shout-out to Detroit Northern High School's own Smokey Robinson, who was named the 2016 Library of Congress recipient for the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song. Love the show.
Thank you for calling Bob from D.C. representing the D. What up, though?
Bob knows exactly what he's doing. Bob just throws out a bunch of Detroit luminaries.
That's how you
just,
can get right on the show
fastballs
anytime.
right down the middle for Jalen Rose. So I'm just going to lay out. You can answer some of his questions. Are the 2004 Pistons the most underrated champions of all time?
Of course.
The real answer is no, but you're going to say of course and go ahead.
All I know is this. We had a Hall of Fame backcourt in Joe Dumars and Isaiah Thomas. The remix, Chauncey Billups and Rip Hamilton. While they may not make it to Canton, both of those jerseys, and Rip is happening in February, will be hanging in the rafters.
Not only are we going to give Smokey Robinson a shout-out, we're going to give Bob a shout-out. He is 70 years old, and he's using the term shout-out. I love Bob. Bob, you are my life goal.
And I got something for Bob since he saw the Lions win the NFL championship before the Super Bowl. We're 9-4. We got 3 big weeks coming up, and I'm going to enjoy it between now and Sunday's kickoff. Because there is a chance we can miss the playoffs, Bob. You know this. Because in that 50 years, we've only won one playoff game.
Really good chance.
So for you and you only, Bob.
Let's listen to the next voicemail.
What up, though? This is Joe from McKinney, Texas. My question is, if you can pick five players from any sport to play dodgeball, top 5, who do you got?
All right. I really appreciate the call. I appreciate the what up, though. I appreciate everything. But that's too much work, Joe. Pick 5? Don't you listen to the show? That's a lot of preparation.
That's a lot of thinking.
That's a lot, yeah.
I can't remember my second highlight. And I was like, it was the greatest one I've ever seen.
All right. Okay. Let's do this, though. I want a baseball pitcher, okay? And I want to have some fun on my team. Chemistry is important. I'm taking Bartolo Colon.
I'll take a pitcher, too. Randy Johnson.
I want a receiver. You know, I love me some Randy Moss. Let's go with an all-Randy team. We got 2 Randys. That's good. That's good for chemistry.
I want my receiver to be Chris Carter.
And every team is better with Charles Oakley on it. You know what I mean? You got to have that presence. You got to have that bruiser.
Yeah.
That's our team. Thank you so much. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
I want my bruiser to be Aaron Donald of the Rams.
Nope.
Well, Jalen, look. It's Sean John from Cincinnati. I one of the 1 billion people who don't name their people, their baby Jalen. My baby is Jalen. She's a girl. Her name is Jaylyn, not Jalen. But I didn't have a boy. That's the only baby I got. We're number 5. That's our family number. I've been watching the show since it was Jenny Rose Report. And that's my show. Jacoby, you got to put me on the board. You know what I mean? You got all them other, is the Clippers real? No. Turn up. That's what you got to put on the sorry. You got to put on the board. But what I'm saying is I've been a big fan. Jen, I got 5 years worth of questions for you. You and Jim Harbaugh could be the best college football tandem in the country. Why don't you take over the Michigan basketball program and you got him? Then you be in the Final Four and Final Four every year. My thoughts on that. But I much respect. I love the show. Been watching it for 5 years. Jacoby, you my man. Turn him up. You be tearing Jaden up. I love it about you. And then from the standpoint of Jaden, I need you to take over the Michigan basketball program so you can put it where Harbaugh got it so y'all both can be in the Final Four. How would that sound? And put me on the soundboard, man. I'm real. Sean John, I'm out. Cincinnati, Ohio, I'm out.
Big shout to Sean John.
Sean
John. I love that dude.
From
I love
Cincy.
people that have been listening since the very beginning of this project.
Here's a unique thing, too, like when everybody has naysayers, so I'm not going to cry and moan about mine.
No, don't.
But I've actually had people that were namesakes of mine actually try to clown or diss me or call me a name. Like, you don't even know that you named after me. Like, I helped introduce a name to the lexicon. I've done my contribution.
And let's give your
What
mom
else do you
proper
want from
credit.
me?
Like, you helped
She gets
introduce
all
it,
the credit.
but she's the one who invented it.
She gets all of the credit.
No doubt.
She gets all of the credit. She made it up. And the most humbling thing is Shaq and Denzel, other urban names as I'll call them,
Good use of urban.
because they're the people that have those names normally are black.
Wait, urban means black?
No.
What?
And so you like how I used it the first time, did you? Instead of using it twice. You know, I told you about that little trick I got. But anyway, they're all-time greats at what they do. Like Shaq is all-time great. That
One of the
Denzel,
best.
like I'm all right. You know what I'm saying? So it's humbling that multiple races, boys, girls, take on that name. And I would be humbled. Coaching the University of Michigan, and I love John Beilein. Do not want anybody's job. Don't text him. Don't tweet him. I am not coming for his job. I was just on campus. His
You're
love.
just so nice. I want you to have that job.
But that would be my dream job in any
What?
profession.
Say it again.
Coaching Michigan would be my dream job. More than media, more than front office, more than anything.
Let's get you that job.
And we putting it on wax. It's the new.
Well, on this show, we always say, we have some good questions today, Jalen.
Let's get it.
A lot of Raptors questions. Toronto strong today.
T-Dot.
First question is from Reese. If Cleveland continues to rest players, do the Raptors have a chance at the number 1 seed in the East?
No,
Can I
they're
answer
going to
this?
rest them enough to make sure they still have the number
I'm
one
gonna answer
seed.
this with no. I'm sorry, Reese. Someone tells me that you want the answer to be yes, Reese, but we got to be honest.
Let's just be honest.
The Cavs,
Let's just be
barring
real.
something tragic happening, will be the number 1 seed in the East.
But Toronto has clearly distinguished themselves as the second best team, and I hope that becomes the Eastern Conference Finals matchup when the two top teams face off.
T. Chang, I was going to say welcome to the China Club, has this question. Is there a player that the Raptors can acquire via trade or free agency that would make them legit contenders? Well, there's two different questions there, Mr. Chang, because free agency, yeah, sure, maybe you can convince like a big free agent to go there and make you a contender, but trade, I just don't see it.
Salary cap driven sport means you have to give up fair value
Exactly.
to get set in return. And I really believe the balance that they have with their backcourt,
They need
already
a 4.
paying DeRozan, will need to pay Lowry.
They need a 4.
They could use a 4, but that position really costs in the game
Exactly.
today. They're getting quality minutes from a couple of guys, in particular Patterson. Have Valanciunas as center.
I don't see a trade that's really going to get them into that contending spot. Free agency, sure.
You got to fill that spot to beat LeBron and Kevin Love.
Mr. Perfect has a question. What's your favorite video game of all time? Huh.
Madden.
Huh. Madden? Do you know what mine is? Tony Hawk. I spent so many hours skating around that Tony Hawk game. I would go complete boards in one trick. I scored so many points in that game. Do you know sometimes when you're playing a video game or doing whatever you're doing, sometimes you're just like, I think I'm the best in the world at this.
Well, I have a game that I felt like that about. Stargate Defender.
I thought you were going to say basketball.
Nah, that too, huh, I guess. All day, 1 quarter, all day.
Simple yes or no question for you, also from Mr. Perfect. Have you seen The Walking Dead?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
No.
Mr. Wang has a question, and I'm going to ask it because he used the hashtag UnblockBill. If you're listening to this show, please
Pull out your phone
tweet Boogie Cousins.
right now.
Use the hashtag UnblockBill. Bill Simmons wrote a breakdown of Boogie Cousins going to Boston. He spent a lot of time on this, Jalen. Hours and hours and hours. Do you know why he did that? Because he really wants Boogie Cousins to go to Boston. Do you know why he wants Boogie Cousins to go to Boston? Because he loves Boston and he loves Boogie Cousins. And we can't live in a world where that love isn't reciprocated.
Yep.
Boogie Cousins, you don't have to love Bill Simmons, but you don't gotta block him either. Hashtag UnblockBill. Back to Mr. Wang's question. Better point guard, Mark Jackson or Rajon Rondo?
Mark Jackson.
Thank you.
Yep.
Don't even have to explain.
Nope.
Chilling the Most has this question. Do you have a go-to going out outfit?
I don't.
Let me answer that by
No.
saying this.
No.
Jalen, first of all, you're not only retired from champagne and campaigning, you're retired from the league. And
Yeah.
also this, I don't go out. I'm asleep every night at 10 p.m. I don't go out. But when I did, I definitely had a Friday outfit. I definitely had a Friday outfit.
It depends on where I'm going.
Everyone's got an ace in the rotation. Every baseball team has an ace in the rotation.
Yep.
Father has this question. Did you know Jimmer Fredette is averaging 40 points in China? Now, this isn't the first time we've heard this from Fredette. When he goes out to the D-League, he lights it up. When he goes to China, he lights it up. He lit it up all through college. Is it psychological in the NBA, or is it just he's better suited for a lower level of competition?
He's the kind of player that will continue to earn the right to get paid to play professional